Okay, students, welcome everyone to the last session of demand and supply. And in this topic, we'll be concluding the concept of demand and supply, and all relevant topics are being covered. So here we are talking about the first topic that comes here is what will happen if there's a change in the price. So first point is when the prices are below equilibrium. So it sometimes what happens is that buyers force the price to go down. So sometimes prices go down. So it will show like this that this was the equilibrium price, but the market price is shown as 2. So what will happen? We already seen here is that at price 2, quantity demand is 80 and quantity supply is 40. So whenever prices go down, it means whenever prices are decreased, you will notice that there will be a there will be a shortage. Why? Because shortage occurs when the quantity demand is bigger than quantity supply. So in this case, whenever you see a statement or you see a case where prices are changing themselves, so what will happen? Uh, what will happen that what will happen that there will be more people trying to buy it because the product is cheaper, but there will be less people trying to sell because the product is cheaper. So if the price is below the equilibrium, the demander will increase the demand, but the supply will reduce the supply because the demander is looking to buy more because it is cheaper now. He can afford more, but the supplier will supply less because the cost to produce is higher. He cannot produce more quantity at a lower price. So hence quantity supply will be smaller than quantity demand. So there will be too few products in the market because seller has reduced the supply. So the products in the market will be reduced. So the demander have to pay a higher price to get some to get it, and some other poor will not be able to afford it. So what will happen that the rich customers will pay higher price. So yeah. So rich customer will will try to pay higher price, and but some poor will not be able to pay higher price, so they will not buy. So what will happen that the the rich customer will increase the price as they want the product, and there's a shortage, so they will say to the seller that I will pay you higher price, get me that product. But there will be the poor will not buy it as he cannot afford it. So what will happen there whenever the prices are below equilibrium, even though it looks like a good situation for a buyer because the products are cheaper, but in reality it's not a good situation because there is increase in number of buyers, but there is a decrease in number of sellers. So what will happen that there's a and it this at this stage there's a competition between buyers. So when there's a competition, rich one will pay higher price and the poor one cannot pay higher price, so they will not buy. So what will happen? The price will tend to go up because the rich will pay higher price, but the demand will also be reduced, quantity demand, because the poor are not buying. So what will happen that as the price gets higher, more and more seller will become able to sell. So when the prices are going up, seller will also agree to produce more because they are getting higher price. So, but the buyer will not reduce the purchase because the products are getting expensive. So the gap will between the quantity supply and quantity demand will tend to reduce, and at the point when they reach equilibrium point, the quantity demand becomes equal to quantity supply. Hence, they will reach equilibrium, and so because of the shortage, the price will rise and quantity will also rise. So this is shown. This is the dynamics when the prices are changed itself, and it is affecting the market. Okay, so let me clear it. Next point is when the prices are above the equilibrium. So let me draw the diagram and then we'll discuss it. Suppose there is a y-axis and there's an x-axis, there's a demand curve and there's a supply curve, and let me label it. So prices are here, quantities are here, this is demand curve and this is supply curve, and because of some reason the market prices have increased at this point. So what will happen at this point? So since the prices are above equilibrium, so equilibrium point was this much, this was the equilibrium point. So at this new price, this is quantity supply and this is quantity demand. And if you notice on the x-axis, so quantity supply is here, quantity demand is here. So quantity supply is bigger than the quantity demand. So what will happen in this case, when the prices are above equilibrium, there is a surplus. There are extra goods being produced in the market, but there are no buyers. So when the price is above equilibrium, surplus occurs. Surplus occurs when the quantity supply is more than quantity demand. So if the price is above equilibrium, demander will decrease the demand. Why? Because the products are expensive. And supply will increase the supply because the products are expensive and it's more profitable. So quantity supply is more than quantity demand. In this case, there are too few buyers. So there are few buyers in the market because products are expensive. So the seller have to reduce the prices so that some poor as some poor will not afford it, because in this case poor customers cannot afford, so sellers has to reduce the price. So in this surplus case, actually there is a competition between sellers. There's a competition between sellers because there are very few buyers, so they are trying to sell it to they're trying to sell their goods so that their goods are not being wasted. So these seller, what they will do, first of all they will reduce the price. So when they are reducing the price, they are going down. So when they are reducing the price, they are actually also reducing the quantity, because at the lower price they cannot afford to produce more. So when they are reducing the price, some of the poor customers will afford the quantity, so they will increase the demand. So what will happen? As the price gets lowered, more and more buyers will be able to buy. So there is an increase in purchases, and but there is also a decrease in production. So hence they will reach a equilibrium point where the demand is equal to supply and it is in equilibrium. So because of surplus, price will fall and quantity will also rise. So quantity sold will also rise in this case. So this way we understood that we understood that whenever the prices are above equilibrium, even though it looks like a good situation for the seller, but actually sellers is only producing. The sales depend upon how much buyer will buy. Okay, so sales depend upon how much buyer will buy. So actually these many items are being sold. Okay, so what happens? Seller need to reduce the losses. The surplus items will become loss after a certain time. So they have to reduce the losses. For that, what they will do is they will shrink their business. They will reduce the quantity supply and also reduce the prices so that the buyer is able to buy and all the losses are reduced and everything gets sold. So this is the conclusion, mm, when the price is above equilibrium. Okay. Next is the topic of government intervention. Sometimes government intervenes in the market to try to manage the situation. Sometimes the equilibrium price is either too high or too low in the market. So government tries to change it so that it is beneficial for the people or sellers. People as buyer and or sellers. So this is called government intervention. Let's go towards its examples. So here we talk about two examples. One is price ceiling and second is price floor. So by name you should remember. Let's go with the diagram. Suppose in this price ceiling there is a demand and supply curve, and government has set a price which is below equilibrium and says that its price ceiling is legally mandated maximum price, so you cannot go above it. So it is actually it's a point where you cannot go above, so it should be below. So price ceiling is a legally mandated maximum price which is below equilibrium point. Okay, so why it should be below? Because if it is below it will try to go up. So if you wanted to go something to stop it going up, it should be below. So government will restrict it, and it will try to force the price to stay low. So price ceiling is a legally mandated maximum price which is below equilibrium. The purpose is to keep prices below the equilibrium price level, and as it was too high for buyers. Okay, so what will happen? It will create a shortage, because at this point this is quantity demand and this is quantity supply. There is a shortage. Okay, so the examples is the rent control. Sometimes the house prices are increased too much, so government limits it. Price controls during the war time and gas price rationing in 1970s. So there is a shortage. So how we can so here we are talking that we need to help the buyer by reducing the price, but the problem is when we reduce the price there is a shortage. So how we can solve it? So the best way is, when there is a shortage, we can import the quantity that is needed. Okay, so since the sellers are not able to produce the quantity at that low price, what we can do is we can import the extra quantity from the international market at that given price if it is available, so that we can fill the shortage gap. So it means the trade can help here. Okay. Second example is price floor. So price floor is legally mandated minimum price which is above equilibrium. So legally mandated minimum price which is above equilibrium. It is designed to maintain the price above the equilibrium level as it was too low. Sometimes prices are so low that sellers are not able to produce. So it is discouraging the sellers to produce. So we want the sellers to produce the items. So we need to make sure the prices are high enough so that they are motivated to produce it. Okay. So what will happen if government applies the price floor? It will price will go up. So it will create surplus in the output. So the example is the agriculture support price, the wheat support price that government announces every year. Okay, or the minimum wage laws that are actually discussed in economics. So it means when the price is above equilibrium, there is quantity supply is more than quantity demand, so there is surplus. So now here the intentions were to help the seller, but the problem is buyers are not buying it. So how we can help the seller? Here we can export the quantity which is not yet sold. So it means trade can help here too. So the extra surplus can be exported, and then it can help the sellers. So this way the government can intervene and change the market orientation. So, for example, whenever the prices are too low or too high, the government can apply price ceiling, or whenever the prices are too low, they can apply a price floor. So this way government can intervene in the market. Hopefully it is clear for you. So you can so this was the last topic in the concept of demand and supply, and it covers the dimensions. So in this concept what we studied is that there are two economic agents in the market, buyer and seller. The cross section of demand and supply curve shows the common agreement point between demand and seller. We can call it equilibrium. So the market price quantity is decided where demand and supply are meeting each other. It is called equilibrium price because it tries to come back if it is too high or too low. So we have already seen that whenever prices are above, it tries to come down. Whenever prices are low, it tries to go up. It tries to increase. Further, we studied that government as the third agent tries to intervene in the market when the prices are too low, which is hurting sellers, or when prices are too high, which is hurting the buyers. So this way third agent can come into the market. So this was the topic. Hopefully it is understandable. If you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you very much.